Hey guys, welcome back to Bohs Fan TV, and today we're going to be doing a season preview for the 2021 season. I'm joined by Aaron and Darren. How are you, lads?
Grand.
Hey boys.
So yeah, are we all looking forward to the new season? Obviously, it's getting closer. Saturday is when it all kicks off. We play Finn Harps in Finn Park. He's looking forward to it.
I'll let Darren go first with this.
Thanks very much. Yeah, look, we all know the off season it's pretty long in us League of Ireland fans. It's one of the biggest off seasons, going in club football, I think, throughout Europe. Yeah, look, Finn Harps, they give everyone a hard game. They always give us a hard game, and I have great respect for Ollie Horgan, and I like Finn Harps, but we need to beat them in the first game anyway.
Yeah, definitely. You looking forward to it, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the season now. We've got obviously a difficult tie going up to Finn Park to play Finn Harps. They're a really good side, even up there. They're really good at home, so we need a good performance to get past them. But I'm confident that we'll start the season off brightly.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I suppose we'll start on last season. Obviously we sort of overachieved in a way. We came second. Which, going into the season, not many people expect us to break into the top two. I know it was kind of a shortened season, but it's still a good achievement, But so there were games where we played really well last season. We worked hard to get into the top two. So do you think we should be aiming for something similar this season, Darren?
Yeah, look, I think last season we did really, really well. Had it been a full season, would we finish second still? That's the question that we probably won't. I think we probably would have been up in the top three anyway. We deserve to be there. Like you said, we got the points on the board, we scored the goals, we kept clean sheets. We had two keepers competing for the number one shirt. Look, I think this season it's important again to finish in Europe. Keith Long has actually put a big expectation on himself now and the team. But I think we need to look at a high turnover of players again, and will they perform a step up to what it was like last season? That's going to be the telling question now for this season.
Yeah, a lot of new faces. We brought in players such as Bashan Heary, Tyreek Wilson, a lot of marquee signings, but I suppose looking at the other side of it, we have lost some big players like Danny Grant, Andre Wright, Dan Casey. How do you think we'll get on without them treating the team next season? We'll go to Aaron on this one.
Yeah, obviously we're gonna miss them, but Keith Long obviously has an eye for a player, so he's obviously looked at these players for over the off season, probably during last season as well. So he'd be more than confident that they'll do a good job and hopefully get us Europe and maybe a trophy this season.
Yeah, I suppose that's kind of the big one. We've done really well last couple of seasons. We just need that trophy. We became close last couple of seasons. We got knocked out of the semi-finals in 2019 and the quarterfinals last season. So we should be looking to at least get to the final, even win it. So we'll start on some of the signings we've made. If you look at them, obviously I mentioned a few there: Bashan Heary, Tyreek Wilson, plenty more there. Stephen Mallon, I know he unfortunately picked up an injury, which will see him out for at least a couple of months, I think. But who are you most looking forward to seeing? First of all, let's start with Darren on this. Who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Tell you what, this season we got Ali Coote, Rory Feely, Bashan Heary, Stephen Mallon, Alua, Wilson. We got a lot of players in, but we're trying to replace players like Danny Grant, Danny Manju up to when he was performing. Twitter, Danny Corcoran's gone, Dan Casey's gone, Kirk's gone. There's a lot of players gone, that we probably will miss. So it's going to be very hard, first of all, for them players to really step up, because the level and bar has been set for them players now to really step into them shoes. So I think in regards to players I'm looking forward to see, I think Bert has got something about him. He's obviously an unknown quantity to the league. I think we all know what Bashan Heary can do on his day. He'll be a very astute signing now if he steps up and plays really well. And I think Wilson's one of the best fullbacks in the league. So have to have two of the best fullbacks and best young fullbacks in the league going forward and back. It's very positive. All around, I think we've got a good structure. I still think we're a bit light up front. Kelly really needs to step up now this season. This is his season to make that spot his own. But that's what I think we'll do. Okay, I think we'll do well, and I'm happy with the players we got. But I probably would have liked if we had got another forward. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's one of my fears personally. Going forward, will players like Georgie Kelly, Thomas Alua score the same amount of goals as players like Andre Wright did, Danny Grant did? Probably not. Because they aren't as good. Let's face it, really. But if you look at the squad for 2021, start with the two goalkeepers, James Talbot and Stephen McGuinness, two quality keepers in my opinion. Stephen McGuinness at the start of the kind of restart, he played and done really well, kept Talbot with the team. So I think we're pretty good there. The defenders, Andy Lyons, Anton Breslin, Kieran Kelly, James Finnerty, Rob Cornwall, Rory Feely and Tyreek Wilson. Good defenders, I think the one we'll talk about, Andy Lyons, I think it was really important to get him back. How important to see to the team, Aaron?
Yeah, he's really important, and we've seen over the last maybe year and a half how important he is, making that right back place his own after Derek Bender left last year. So he's a really good player, and he's good going forward and going back, which is something that can benefit the team as well.
Yeah, 100%. The one that I'm looking forward to seeing is how will Breslin and Wilson kind of compete for that left back spot. Two very good left backs. I thought Breslin was probably, if not one of the best, if not the best left back in the league last year. Well, he's up there with Tyreek Wilson. I thought if last season if someone asked me to pick me two best left backs last season, it'd have been Breslin and Wilson. So we'll go to Darren on this one. Who would you prefer to see playing left back, Breslin or Wilson?
I think we don't particularly know how the team were playing in pre-season. There wasn't much coverage on it, so we can't really judge what we've seen in pre-season. Not that you would judge players from pre-season anyway, because it's just about fitness, getting minutes in. On terms of on-field quality, Breslin, he did really well for us last season, like I said, and it would be unfair to just chuck him out and put Wilson in simply because we just signed Wilson. He'd have to earn his place in the team for me. I'd start off with Breslin if it was me, even though I think Wilson probably is a bit better. He's a bit better going forward, I think. He's just got a bit more about him. But, it's very encouraging to have two top fullbacks at your club on one side. So there'll be plenty of competition for them. And, Wilson, if we really have to, I'd say he could play further up the field too. If we needed to put him up there, he could play left midfield, left wing, should we need him to. But it'd be a great competition for places. Like I said, even with the goalkeepers there, you got two top keepers pushing each other. You got Feely and Andy Lyons in right back, and we got Breslin, and you've got Wilson left back. But yeah, look, it's great competition, and it's great to have two excellent fullbacks in one position anyway. So yeah, really good.
Yeah, moving into kind of the centre of the defence. Kieran Kelly, James Finnerty, Rob Cornwall. I think Rory Feely can do a shift in there as well. But Dan Casey for me was a massive loss. Him and Cornwall together were really good last year. They formed a really good partnership. Suppose moving on to the midfield now, we have a lot of depth in this position. I think Ali Coop, Bashan Heary, Conor Levingston, Dawson Devoy, Jack Moylan, Keith Buckley, Keith Ward, Liam Burr, Promise O'Shea, Ross Tierney, and Stephen Mallon. A lot of good players in that midfield. Particularly kind of in the centre, Bashan Erie, Conor Levingston, Keith Buckley, Jack Moylan. I know Keith Long kind of likes to play a 4-2-3-1. So, Aaron, who would you like to see as the midfield team next year?
Yeah, I'd probably go with Bastian Heary, and it's hard to really pick one because maybe Dawson Devoy, because you have the defensive assurance of Harry, and then maybe Dawson Devoy can have the license to kind of play as maybe going forward more, but never really know. But look, I think it was good to get Harry in the midfield because he's kind of in his prime, like he's late 20s, so he knows he's coming into the prime of his career, so we're getting him at a good time, which I think is vital. Not to have like the whole squad full of 20, 21-year-olds. It's good to have experience there too.
I think though for me it's got to be Buckley and Harry. Buckley's the club captain. He's been there. He's done it. He was with Bohs when we weren't finishing high up the team. He'd be the experience, the anchor man there. So I think for me, Buckley's got to start all day long.
Yeah, I think it's important that we still have players like Keith Buckley in the dressing room, and in the team. He's a real leader. Obviously, he's the club captain. Because I think we're going to need them type of players this season. Because when you look at the team, there are players who will be leaders, like even Talbot, like players like them. Rob Cornwall, I think he's the vice captain. Bucko, Wardy, them type of players, are kind of they're kind of late 20s now. They're kind of the more older players in the squad, and with a young team, they'll be there to kind of support them and help them get better. But yeah, I think Liam Burr is a good player. I think, and from what we've seen of him, he looks pretty decent. He scored a nice goal a few days ago against Galway, I think, in a friendly. And I think the one game where we actually got to see the full match was the Dundalk game, and he scored, and he done quite well that game. So are you looking forward to seeing him in the team, Darren?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a new player. He's got a big pedigree from Scotland. He's with two of the biggest clubs over there. There's not many players that plays for both Rangers and Celtic. So he's going to be known in that regards, and I think he's got something about him. He's going to want to show what he can do. A lot of our players, as everybody knows from England, they could come for a season and then go. He uses it as a stepping stone. So he'll want to be really performing to show what he can do. I think he's the perfect number 10. From what I've heard, I've seen videos of him, and as you said yourself, I've only seen a few highlights in that game against Dundalk. So the real test will be Finn Harps. But look, let's hope he's that number 10 that we need, that can put in with a few goals, take a few set pieces, string a few passes. Yeah, I think he'll be good. So I'm very happy to have him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
So what's your take on Liam Burr, Aaron?
Yeah, it's obviously great signing from what we've seen so far. He's scored a couple of goals, and one of them was a great goal against Galway outside the box. So look, yeah, he's come with great pedigree, and what we've seen, I think he's going to be a great signing, and he's going to score a good few goals this season.
Yeah, hopefully. So there's a few young lads in there. Obviously, Jack Moylan, Dawson Avoy, Promise Amasher, Ross Tierney. Do you think there's a chance that they could break their way into the team this season? Go to Aaron on this.
Yeah, I think Amasher maybe off the back of last season when he was kind of starting one game off, one game on around after the kind of break. But look, I think he can kind of kick on because I think we're light in the wingers side of the things. We don't really have that many wingers because we've lost a few like Twardek and Grant in the last year. So I think he could push for maybe a few starts this season.
Yeah, what do you think about the kind of the young lads in the midfield, Darren?
Yeah, look, I actually think any of them young players in Bohs can really push anyone in the first team to go in and make a position themselves. Keith Long has shown that he's not afraid to put someone in, and I think he really shown people that he will pick the team. Like McGuinness in goals, he didn't chuck him out as soon as Taboo was back. He left him in the team for a good while, and that took some going to do that. To drop your number one and to keep your keeper in goals, like that took some going, and he's given opportunities to young players. He's brought them in and he's let them play and he's let them express themselves. And I think as well, we've got a great complement of younger players as well. We had 8 academy graduates from Kevin's come in that were working under Derek Penner, 2 of them from my neck of the woods from Portlaoise. So that was really good to see. Darren got a goal actually against Cove. So these younger lads are pushing are an already young team. So it's not, it's a lot of positives there going, but I definitely think they can come in and do a job on us and really push for a position for themselves. Especially it's going to be a long season. There'll be Europa League, there'll be cups, there'll be plenty of opportunities for younger players to come in.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you mustn't forget that. Obviously, as you mentioned, the academy graduates that signed up there, players like Jamie Mullins, Gretton, Darren, these type of players who, they'll be hungry to get into the team and make a name for themselves. So moving up front now, Bradley Rowe on loan from Peterborough. I have the kind of report up here where Keith Long mentioned that, like he says here, his decision to come to us is an indication of how hungry he is to play football and progress in the game. Obviously, when players come in on loan from England, kind of they're kind of assured that they'll get game time. It's a chance for them to get some first team minutes, uh, uh, get them ready for the future for playing in England. Do you think he can come in and make an impact, Darren?
Yeah, I think obviously he's hungry for games, so he'll come in and want to score goals and fight for the striker position, because him and Georgie Kelly will obviously have to go and train and fight for who's going to be the starting striker this season. But he's come with a point to prove, because he's on loan from an English team, so he'll want to bag a few goals and go back with Peterborough and show what he's done in maybe the last year with Bohs.
So yeah, what do you think of him, Darren? Do you think he can make a difference?
Well, I think, when we're judging a player from England, just because they're on a UK team doesn't mean they're any good. You look at Sam Byrne. He was with Man United. He's back home. I don't even know who he's with anymore. I think he's with UCD. You look at the likes of Macaulay. He was with Liverpool. He came to us and he didn't really hit the heights we thought he'd hit. So just because you've got a UK team, it doesn't particularly mean you're that great. That's not saying now that he mightn't be the best signing that we've made this season, because we don't know. So he could be. I don't know too much about him. I think we're his first loan club. He is a very young striker, but we're light up front, so he'll probably play in the wing or as the main striker, or he'll probably come on in games. We've only really got Kelly Alua, if you want to call him striker, and we're also up front, so there will be chances to play. I know we usually play with one striker, but you're going to probably use two in a match unless one's playing really well. So there will be chances for him to come on, and I'm actually happy that we don't have too many loan players. If you look at Waterford, they've got so many loan players. If they're dragged into relegation battle, will these players really care at the end of the season if Waterford's going to get relegated or not? They'll be going back to the UK and thinking about their next club. They're not really it's not going to bother them too much, I wouldn't say so. So I'm happy that we didn't delve too much into the loan market and bring in lots of unknown players. Like, at least the ones we brought in, they're on permanent signings. But I think we're all, like any player, he'll have a point to prove, and it's good to have him there, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah. Moving on now, Georgie Kelly. He's done well at Dundalk. Obviously, it was going to be difficult for him to get in over the likes of Pat Hooven, but he did manage to score a few goals there. He went on loan to Pats, and he wasn't brilliant, but obviously Keith Long must see something in him. Do you think he can score the goals this season like Andre Wright did? We'll go to Aaron on this.
No, like looking on the last few years, especially when he was at Pats last year, I wasn't really impressed. But I don't think he'll emulate how good Andre Wright was. I think Andre Wright, especially last season in the lockdown, he was brilliant, probably one of the best strikers in the league. But let's just hope that he can find his scoring boots and bag a few for us as well.
Yeah, hopefully. What's your take on Georgie Kelly, Darren?
Well, I think Keith Long makes players confident. He makes them believe in themselves, and he can really get the best out of players. And he's often plucked out unknown players and made them stars first, and have often went on and got big moves or moves away. I think he will play well. He'll be the main striker. I'd presume he would be. He'll probably starting every game. He can score goals. He's been with Dundalk, and he did okay there. He went to Pats, but Pats weren't really that great the last few seasons anyway. Especially going forward, they weren't that great. But I think I think he will do well, because he knows he's going to be the main boy there now up front. He's going to be the one we're relying on for goals. So look, there's pressures on his shoulders. He's replacing, as Aaron said, he's replacing Wright. We had Denny before that. I know he wasn't playing, but Denny was there. He's gone. The goals from the wings from last season, they're both gone. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform. So I hope the pressure doesn't get to him. If he starts, if he's out of form, we're looking at Ralston, you're looking at Alua. which leaves us a bit light up front. Or if one of them gets injured, you've only got two left. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform. But if he can hit the ground running and score a few goals, he could be one of the best signings we've made this season.
Yeah,
I think my take on George Kelly would be he's a good striker. He will score you goals. It's just I don't know whether he can be a direct replacement for someone like Andre Wright. It's obviously going to be hard to replace him because he scored the goals, most of them anyway. Last player we'll look at before we'll just talk about what we're expecting from this season. One that I think could turn out to be one of the surprise packages for us this season. A sign that for me that's kind of gone on the radar a little bit. Thomas Lewa, I think he's done really well in some of the preseason games. I watched the Dundalk friendly and I thought he played quite well. And he scored a few goals in pre-season. We'll go to Darren on this. Do you think Thomas can come in and do well?
Yeah, I think he can. He looks strong. He looks physical. He looks fast. He looks like he's got a good work rate. He looks like he was just kind of a striker. He wants to get stuck in. That's something that we needed. A bit of bite to him. He will go front. He will press from the front, and he'll defend from the front. He looks to be able to play a wider positions. He can play in left or right and a striker. Pre-season, he's been up and around them positions. So I think it's good, if you're a bit light up front and the wings, like Aaron said, if you can have a player or two that can play on the wing and striker, because you're giving yourself options then in the game and off the bench to play. Like all the players we signed, he's going to want to prove a point, especially to Shamrock Rovers. He's going to want to prove, why did you release me? I'm going to step up now and I'm going to play well and I'm going to get that move, or I'm going to push Bohs on. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. But trying to replicate Danny Grant or Twatter, that's going to be very hard for any player in the league, especially for someone who's relatively unknown coming in. Like I said about Kelly, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him to perform well.
yeah, certainly.
Aaron, what do you make of Thomas Lewa? Do you think he can make an impact?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. Signing's kind of gone under the radar because no one was really it wasn't really rumored or anything. But yeah, the Dundalk game, especially when I saw him play, he was really direct and could move the ball fast, which would benefit us and kind of bring what maybe Danny Grant had with his ball carrying skills, bring the ball forward to create more chances. But look, it would be hard for him to emulate what he did last year, the amount of goals he scored. But I think it's a good sign, and Keith Long will prove to make him and develop him into a better player.
Yeah, I think the one thing that kind of surprised me was actually that we did sign him. Obviously, I knew him from being at Rovers. He was one of the kind of brighter prospects. And when Rovers fans seen that he had left before, I think a few hours before he was announced as a Bohs player, Rovers announced that he had left, and the Rovers fans they sounded quite disappointed, to be fair, and they seemed even more disappointed when they seen that he went to Bohs. But yeah, I think he could prove to be a good player. Obviously, Keith Long, he likes players who are kind of young and hungry to come in and do well and work hard and make a difference. So that's just kind of the squad covered there. What do you think the goal should be for this season? Start with Aaron on this. Do you think silverware or another top three finish?
I think top three finish and to get to a final of a cup would be a good season for Bohs. That's what I think. Yeah, what do you think, Darren?
I've been thinking about it quite a bit. I think we need to realise we have had a high turnover of players, and they need to perform. They're stepping up, like as I stressed, they're stepping into shoes in someone else's boots to perform really well last season. I think the main goal will be, making Europe again. I think that has to be the goal. For financial terms and for attracting players, I'd be happy with a top three finish. Obviously, who wouldn't like silverware or a cup final? But if I was to pick between the two, a lot of people, I'd say, would probably pick a cup final, but I would pick Europe. Attract the players, keep who we have, keep the money coming in, be the best of the rest. I think we need to be up there again.
Yeah, I think
this kind of off seasons, it's been good for the club. Obviously, we've made some good signings, but off the pitch, it's been good. Obviously, it was announced there about the DCU facilities. Now we're going to be training there now, and it's by the looks of things, it's probably going to be the best training facility in the league, which will be good for the club and the players. Getting better kind of treatment and training and all that stuff. But yeah, I think in terms of goals for this season, I think yeah, top three finish. I'd be happy with with as Darren mentioned, the high turnover of players and the players that have left, and it'll be about how these sort of players gel because we're looking back before the 2019 season where we were really good, finished third. We rarely kind of knew any of the players we signed. Danny Mandrew, James Talbot, Connor Levingston, James Finnerty. Players who went on to make big impacts and really helped us get into them positions. So hopefully it's another season like that. Where a lot of kind of unknown players come in and do really well for us and get us into those sort of positions. Just want to talk about kind of the players who have left. Obviously, some of the players that have left during the off season. Obviously, Dan Casey going to America, Danny Grant going to Huddersfield, Andre Roy went to Ayr United. I've kind of seen a few people I think people have kind of overreacted a little bit when it comes to kind of players leaving. A few people are saying like, "Oh, but like we paid their wages in the pandemic, and this is how they paid us. There's no loyalty, and this is how they kind of treat us and repay us. There's no loyalty." But I think fans sometimes have to accept that players are going to come and go. Especially uh, over the last few years, we've lost players like Fod Sill, Eamon Ben Mohamed, Izzy Akinade, so many more players, even like including Danny Grant, Andre Wright. Players will come and go. It's just the way it is. But I think it's nothing. It doesn't bother me when players like Danny Grant go over to a young lad going over to England wants to make a name for himself. Fair play, but no, I think obviously with Mandrew, we won't really talk too much about that. But he hasn't played a professional game from yet. I know he played the Presidents Cup final, which was absolutely shite. And by the way, he only touched the ball like 3 times, and that was it. But Artie, I don't know if you've seen the video or not about him kissing the badge. I don't know if you've seen that. What do you think of that?
Oh, it is hard to watch, but he was a bit of an arsehole, so I don't really care. He can fuck off.
What do you think of that, Darren?
I'll focus completely on this season, and I don't care what any other players do.
Yeah, good answer to be fair. Yeah, we won't talk about it too much. Obviously, it's just what it is, really. But in terms of kind of the bigger losses, the ones who actually tried and cared and made an impact of some sort. Danny Grant going to Huddersfield. What to make of that, Darren?
Look, fair play to him, and he absolutely deserves it. And I wish him nothing but success. He was a top player for us. He got stuck in. He played really hard. He deserves the move, and I wouldn't begrudge any young player moving to the UK or abroad. To better themselves. Let's be realistic. No one's going to turn on and move to any other league. In Europe. Why would you? You got money. You got professionalism. Playing with a higher caliber of players. Even other things like weather, if you're going to go abroad like Ben Mohamed did that time, he's got roots out there. But look, you can't begrudge any players for moving to a higher standard of the league to test themselves at the highest level. And I wish him every success, and I hope he does really well. And if it doesn't work out, he can always return to League of Ireland. He can always come back to Bohs and push on again. I think it made financial sense to let Twatter go at that time. We got 40 grand for him. Just on that, you're looking at Twatter gone, you're looking at Mandrew gone that time, and we players that stepped in. There was no transfer window then. We'd rely on who we had, and Keith Long proved he was able to do it, and the players proved themselves they could step up and do it. So I think it's very positive that way. But look, all the best to Danny Grant, and I hope he does really well over there.
Yeah, so I think as soon as he went, he kind of picked up an injury, which is unfortunate. But hopefully he gets back fit soon and makes a difference for Huddersfield. Obviously, he's gone from League of Ireland to Championship, which is it's a big step up. But so he'll need time, obviously. But I wish him all the best, as Darren said. Andre Wright went to Ayr United. Some people actually thought this was a bit of a step down. I don't really know, to be honest, the difference in kind of level between the Scottish second division and the League of Ireland. Obviously, you're seeing Aaron McEneff going to Hearts, but I think Hearts are kind of dominating that league at the minute. But yeah, obviously it was disappointing to see Andre Wright go, but and as Darren mentioned, now Twardek went to that club in Poland. I think it was Jagiellonia or something. So yeah, we wish him all the best, and yeah, as Darren said, come back to Bohs anytime they want. But yeah, I think hopefully, but yeah, suppose we'll just end it there. Thank you all for watching. Thanks to Darren for coming on. He'll be doing some videos for us in the future, and I don't know when the video will be out, but at some point during the week we'll be talking to a Finn Harps fan just before the Finn Harps game, just getting his thoughts on the games and what he's expecting from Finn Harps this season. So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.